I think everything was started actually with Pleskovica Festival, where everything was really open, and let's say we changed kind of ourselves from inside, and we started to think what or how we would like to work in the future. What are our needs actually to fulfill our needs and our desires. And this is somehow what happened also at the, let's say, frame of NDI meeting. But because I was part of organizers, I couldn't really focus and dedicate myself to the whole thing, so I was actually more or less following other people's thoughts and observing their propositions. And at some point I found out that some people are actually proposing something what was really confronting my ideas or ways of thinking and ways of doing or experimenting with art and within art. So I joined a few projects that I recognized that could be valuable. Yeah. And one project I entered afterwards, I proposed myself to join, which was B-mapping, and I think this is also like still a work in progress, like a project that has like that is long-lasting term without any direct aims or conclusions. But since we are all very busy, we don't catch up together all the time, and yeah. But I still wish and hope that there will be some more time next year, because I really need to do something more creative than just organizing and thinking about structures and writings and theory and stuff, which I'm doing right now most of the time, but I have a feeling that I'm emptying myself out, and there is a huge need to be more creative and follow kind of imagination and stuff like that. Yeah. It's the second project that I spent most time on. It's archiving, and this is also kind of overlapping with my PhD. So maybe it was the reason, because to enter the PhD or to apply for the PhD program was just because of archiving, and I found myself there. Otherwise I would be studying now philosophy, probably dealing with much more abstract stuff. But it's kind of, yeah, now it's more kind of historical point of view, and it's really trying to extract some kind of political notions and propose a different way of understanding the history, or how to historization of performing art in Slovenia and Serbia in the period of 70s and 80s. And there was one proposition which didn't really start, and I joined also, like, which I was also like highly supporting, Polygon, which is already over, but I was organizing actually the event the workshop and the event taking place in Ljubljana, and then by accident I ended up also performing in Belgrade, and I'm very grateful for that experience. It was really nice, and yeah. I was actually a bit disappointed, as probably most of us were, because we expected that there will be some progress from the Pleskovica event, from the festival, and that everyone is kind of acknowledge what happened at the Pleskovica, so we just continue, and it's kind of natural way of just doing, and But what disappointed me the most was how people started to actually hiddenly, not advocate, but let's say manipulate and kako se reče? Še se reče, lobbying among each other. So it was, the whole event actually turned out to lobbying event. And this is something what is like not my thing, and I think that NDA was always about kind of community and kind of objective way of evaluating things, and not promoting yourself or your own projects or your own idea, but you're really just, you're just proposing things, and then you're kind of observing what will happen with your idea. If there will something emerge out of it, or if people won't recognize it, something that is valuable or helpful or needed in the content and in the context of the group, of the whole, of the bigger group. But it was kind of more opposite way around. So I decided to actually spend more time with just a few people and discuss their ideas and try to support and develop or advocate on that. Open space especially, and taking time, a need of taking time before entering into something, gaining kind of a distance towards things that are happening around or you are pushed into, or hesitate with that, maybe a bit differently, and self-reflection of your own needs and desires. So, yeah, there are certain questions, of course, like productional modes, process of work, collaboration, discussion, questions, communication, even maybe friendship, support, honesty, playfulness, imagination, taking time and space for your own self, making space and time for the others, a beauty. Actually, we started to organize and conceptualize Pleskavica like a few months before it took place. And we structured a lot. We made propositions that we thought are kind of valuable and are open enough for people to enter and to support artistic processes and enable people to collaborate anew. So we didn't actually invite productions, but we just invite people, mostly from Nomad Dance Academy. but also some other local artists and some other artists. And we structured a day that everything will start at, I don't know, 10 o'clock with a breakfast or brunch, and then we will make a daily menu in which everyone is invited to propose whatever, like share practices, workshops, process, questions, meditation techniques, discussions on burning issues whatsoever. But actually no one, I guess, really read our propositions that were sent in advance, or no one felt touched or invited to take any of these proposed formats. So it was like we were all like under highly pressure because we felt that we are all stuck, that something is not really going into the direction that we were expecting, because of course when you are making something you have expectations. You have expectation in any production. When you are writing a concept you see the result in a way already. And after 3 days I felt like really a huge relief, because I said, okay, maybe that's it. It's enough to just be together and to enact spontaneously and just observe and be present. Maybe my presence is valuable enough already. So it was kind of a process of detoxification. And then you feel that things open up slowly. I think after 4 or 5 days, people recognize that that's it. So you take what you take and you will get what you will get out of it. It's up to you, guys. So, I don't know. It was kind of very interesting, because the things that we were making or taking part at happened very quickly, so it was just kind of action-reaction stuff, and you see that the propositions that were given or the questions turned into completely some other direction, unexpected ways. So everything was in kind of flux, and the value of that was that I started to recognize or observed myself changing, and also the reading of things that should be changed. I don't know, that you recognize some treasures that are happening on the sides but not in the center. Or that the presence of the people or of the performance is more valuable than the quality of movement, for example. Or, I don't know, different things. Yeah. And maybe the art is more about learning and self-transforming. And it's not about consuming, seeing beauty or expecting perfection, because there is no perfection. It's more about affection. And affection is a relation between people.
Možeš.
First of all, that everyone who is part of any of projects would have a luxury of time, like at least 2-3 months, to dedicate his time to the project he's involved into, and not be just rushing and actually trying to make something happen in a very limited and structured time. We would have enough money to be enabled to do so, and that some of the project, at least some of the project, would be recognized by the community, by the region, in the region. So it would be to a certain degree institutionalized. So anchored in a bigger frame and get the support by other researchers, institutions, educational systems, and things like that. Because I think that tools or forms, formats, and topics we are dealing with are very important for the region. And the region could gain a lot out of it. But I wouldn't say that only the others, the outside, is actually not enacting or not engaging enough, but I would say that it's also our own responsibility, that we are not enough visible, not enough present, or just not enough articulated to sell our ideas or ourselves in a good sense of the world, of the word. Yeah. I don't know. I'm having, or at least in the last 2 years, I'm asking myself what I'm doing wrong. So maybe my ideas, because I'm not articulating myself enough, or I'm not present at a certain events where I would have to be present, for example, or like recognizing that the questions I'm raising are having a certain value in a different context. For example, in Scotland, I'm really supported by the researchers, and I'm taking part of some conferences, smaller conferences, and I'm talking actually about my research questions or my research topics. And here, I don't feel that need, or I'm just a bit afraid or ashamed, even, I don't know. To really stage myself in that way.